Hang on. Perfect. I decided not to go to university after my high school, and that is honestly the best decision that I've ever made in my life. Today, I want to have a little conversation with you regarding why I am convinced that university education just isn't enough if you want to have a great quality of life. And I'm going to touch on two of the most important points that I feel need to be discussed because I know tens and hundreds and thousands of people who go to universities, spend their money, their time, their energy, their effort, and come out on the other side with a degree which honestly isn't of much use in most cases. Now, this isn't me saying university is bad or that you cannot have a good quality of life. But what I'm trying to say is the traditional path that's been laid out in front of us: go to school, go to college, get a degree, land a job, and life's gonna be alright. That doesn't work for most people. And you might be falling in that spectrum and you might not be even be realizing it. Now, I don't know who you are watching this. You might be someone who's already passed the college education phase, or you might be someone who's about to go to university. And if you belong in the latter half, the latter category, then this just might be the most important conversation that you have. This might be the most important thing that you hear. So let me break things down a little bit for you all. See, the thing is, this is the first point I want to make. I feel like university misses the whole point, if I'm being very honest. Because, just a second, excuse me. I feel like university misses the whole point because, let me ask you this. What's the end goal for you? It's for you to have a good life, right? It's for you to be able to enjoy this finite time that you have in this lifetime. Because you and I are both gonna die, and you have loved ones who are gonna die too. And I don't wanna sound too grave, but that's the reality of things, right? And you must acknowledge the truth. And this finite time that you have on planet Earth, you'd want it to be an enjoyable time, right? So how about we keep that as the end goal? Decide and declare that, okay, what your goal is in life is to have fun and have a good quality of life, and then reverse engineer things, right? So the promises that the universities make are pretty vague in my opinion. They say, okay, if you come to this university, take up this course, and this isn't just the marketing stuff of the universities. Even the well-meaning people who give you advices when you find yourself in that crossroads, when you're supposed to make that decision regarding what course you want to take up, what college you want to go to, their advices are very generic. This certain subject has scope, and if you get this degree, then you'll land a job easier, and all of the things that are thrown in the abyss, right? When you're in that phase of your life. But I believe that it is utterly incomplete because when you go to university, you are specializing in a certain skill set and you are developing specified knowledge in a certain subject. For example, if you go to law school, you learn about litigation, right? And once you finish, you have this specialized knowledge, you have this degree that gets you access into certain rooms, and you can have certain conversations with a certain caliber of people, and you're able to land a job and you're able to practice law. And that's great because then you start making money, and once you make the money, then you can pay for things. But then again, think about it. And this isn't just for lawyers, right? I'm talking about architects and doctors and engineers and people who do honors in various subjects. I'm not against this. All I'm trying to say is it is utterly incomplete, right? Do not get me wrong. Matter of fact, I myself might go to university later because I'm heavily, heavily interested in physics and engineering, and I'll probably go to study those subjects later on. That's a conversation for another day. Anyways, coming back to the point, the thing is, the point is to have a good quality of life, right? And we all think that education is about learning things so that your life is better. That's how it goes, right? We get education so that our life is better, smoother, happier, more joyful, etc., etc., etc. Your education is for your benefit, right? At least that's how I look at it. Now, if that's the case, then shouldn't education that you receive be helping you craft a good quality of life? I mean, that's common sense, right? I hope it's sensical to you. I hope it makes sense. So, if that is the case, then what about the other aspects of life? If the only education you receive has got to do with a certain subject matter, say litigation, for example, or say architecture, for example, say you're one of the best doctors, you're one of the best architects, one of the best interior designers, but you do not know how to take care of your health and your health is failing, what's the point? And I think it's a good time for me to introduce an idea here, an insight, that the quality of life is dependent on all the aspects of your life all at once. What I mean is, you might be making good money, but if your health is failing, then your quality of life suffers. Or you might be in great health, but if you're broke, then your quality of life suffers again. And say you're healthy, say you're fit, and say you're making good money, but if you have relationships that are failing, then again, your quality of life suffers. So, if the goal is to have a good quality of life, then we must learn how to craft a life in which you can enjoy it, right? So basically what I'm trying to say is, if you reverse engineer stuff, you're supposed to learn from people who know the things that you want to learn about. For example, if I want to learn how to play the piano, I go to someone who knows how to play the piano, right? I can't go to someone who doesn't know how to play the piano. And I might sound harsh, whatever I'm about to say, but see, I'm very grateful for my teachers, and I respect all of the teachers all around the world. They're doing a very noble job. But if your physics teacher, if your physics professor, or if your history professor, or the teacher who teaches you about, say, like sewing, the stitches and whatnot, basically these people who work in universities and these educational institutions, if they do not have a great quality of life, and if you only learn from those people, how can you hope to learn how to have a great quality of life? Think about it for a moment. See, I have no personal grudges, all right? But I have to talk. Okay, let me frame it properly. I have no personal grudges. There's no one I'm attacking in particular except for the system that's in place. And although I respect these people who teach in these in these educational institutions, my apologies, financial institutions, although I heavily respect these people who teach in these educational institutions, I have to acknowledge the fact that for the most part, they are employees. They are cogs in the machine. They are the pieces that make the whole machine run, right? And they themselves, for the most part, do not have a great quality of life, which, as we discussed earlier, is the end goal. So, of course, you can learn something really specific. Say you learn how to make the best of motors. You go to some engineering college and you learn how to make motors, and you get hired by a tech company that's making fans and appliances and whatnot, and you eventually end up making money. And I mean, that's going to be a good life. I'm not going to lie. You can still have a good life following the traditional path. But what I'm trying to say is, if you really want the best of the best, and I'd encourage you to want more for yourself out of life, because honestly, I've seen hundreds of people who have had such difficult starts in their lives, such difficult stories that they've lived through, and they've still managed to have incredible lives at the end. So I think I've made the point so far, and I'm trying to think if I'm missing out on something. Because honestly, this is just a stream of consciousness thing. I don't have notes, I don't have a teleprompter or anything of that sort. I'm just talking from the top of the dome. And I make this video because I feel like it's an important conversation. Some of you watching this might be like out of the university phase, thinking that your education is over, and it's not, honestly. If you want a good life, then just go into a college, listening to the professors and like doing your assignments, writing some exams and getting a piece of paper. That's not enough education for you to have a great quality of life. And honestly, see, if you're talking business, then you're probably going to come across, in whatever industry you're in, you're probably going to come across a guy like me who's studying every day and who's intending to study every day for the rest of his life. And you're going to have to compete with someone like me, and I'm going to outdo you. If I'm going to be studying every day for the next 2 decades, 3 decades, 4 decades, and you went to university for 4 years and you call it the end of your education, then someone like me is going to smoke you. And I say it with no arrogance or narcissism. I just want to paint a clear picture in your head. But that's business, and that's got to do with things that we need to compete in. But just from a standpoint of having a good quality of life, because I want you to have a good quality of life. The pie is big. You know what I mean? The pie is humongous. You having a good life doesn't take away from my ability to have a good life myself. You and I can both have a good life. And I want people to have a good life because honestly, all of this bullshit that's going on in the world, this violence and pedophilia and wars and like killing people, theft, robbery, and murders, these are all caused by people who are living in lack. And I don't want people to live in lack so that the next generation gets to live in and see a better world. Okay, quality of life is the end goal, and university education doesn't prepare you for that fully. That's point number one. The second thing I want to touch upon is your intelligence, because I feel like this is an important conversation that must be had. See, your intelligence, when was the last time you were taught about intelligence, or when was the last time you thought deeply about what intelligence is and came to a conclusion? Probably never, because before I came across a mentor who like sat me down and taught me about intelligence, I'd never looked at it the way I should have been looking at it my whole life. And that was a game changer for me. See, intellect is basically your thinking capacity. And I don't want this to be a video that's too long, so I'm going to touch upon it slightly. Basically, the intellect is our thinking capacity. And the goal of the intellect would be to enable us to have a good quality of life, right? Else, what's the point? What's the point of you being able to solve the most complex problems relating to quantum physics and quantum mechanics, but not be able to take care of yourself or to take care of your life and to take care of your loved ones? What's the point of you being able to score A's on A's on A's on every single test that you write, but have a belly that's like humongous and it's protruding and it's like you're almost pregnant, but you don't have a baby inside of you? What's the point of being able to remember facts and figures of history and know exactly what war took place when, and when was the kingdom of so and so annexed by so and like have all these facts and figures crammed up in your head, but you don't have the confidence to go approach the person that you're attracted to, and you can't have a relationship that's healthy? That's missing the point, in my opinion. And I don't know, you might be disagreeing with me, and I'd be interested in hearing what makes you disagree to that, because I don't think like scoring good on tests and like just being able to remember facts and figures is the whole point. So basically what I'm trying to say is the point of the intellect is to allow us to have a good quality of life. It's our thinking capacity, basically. I was watching a video the other day, and it was a clip from Naval Ravikant. And he spoke about how the true measure of intelligence boils down to two things. First and foremost, it's about being able to get out of life what you want. Because you have to be able to get out of life what you want if you want a good life, right? And the second thing is knowing what to want in the first place. Because If you say you want something, spend 4 years going after it, and after 4 years of striving, you get it and you realize that, okay, that's actually not what I want, then that's 4 years wasted, right? And a lot of effort, a lot of time. So your intellect is supposed to allow you to scrutinize things. It's supposed to allow you to discern things and like form a good understanding of your own life, about your own likes and dislikes, about the kind of work that you want to live, about the kind of work that you want to do, about the kind of lifestyle that you want to live, the kind of health that you want to have, the kind of relationships that you want to have. And see, that's another thing that universities do not teach us. And honestly, there are a bunch of things which I feel like the university should be teaching us, like manifestation and vibrations and whatnot. But those are going to be conversations that we can have some other day. Today, I just wanted to touch upon two things, and I hope I've been able to get my message across. The first one being it's about the quality of life and not just money. The second one is your intellect is what will allow you to decide what you actually want that would eventually fulfill you. And your intellect is that tool that you will use to move in that direction of attaining those goals that you set for yourself. So, yep, these two things I feel like the universities really should be teaching all around the world, but they do not. And if they do not, and university is the only place of education for you, then you might want to take a hard look at yourself in the mirror and make some changes, because honestly, you're not going to get a good life by accident. You're not going to suddenly wake up someday and have a fairy fly to you and like put a good life on your lap. If you're going to have a good life, and if you do not belong to the lucky sperm club and you have multi-millionaire, billionaire parents, then it's hard. Like, even in that case, you still got to take care of your health. You still got to take care of your relationships. And yeah, I mean, my conviction is a good life can be had. And I feel like education is the doorway into having a good life. But for most people, education stops when they graduate from high school or graduate from university. And that is a grand delusion. That is inaccurate. So, yes, I hope you take something of value from this video, and I hope that you give self-education a thought. Look into ways in which you can educate yourself some more on the subject matters that are actually important. And yeah, I wish you all the luck, all the power. I always operate with the belief that the pie is big, and me having a part of the pie still leaves ample room for you to have your part of the pie, and you and I can both have a good life. Having said all of this, I wish you good luck, and I am gonna see you in the next one.